pour le confort de M. Debrine, il va s'exprimer en anglais, donc je pense qu'il n'y a pas de problème maintenant, toute la France entière touristique parle anglais. Mr. Debrine, you're in charge of the tourism activities for UNESCO.
Yes. Is this working? Yes, yes, I am.
And so how do you mix the fact that UNESCO is more into heritage, culture, and tourism? Is it an asset to culture, or is it like a disturbance? How do you mix the fact that these wonderful sites that we'll see, they will benefit from tourism, or sometimes they suffer from tourism?
Yes, that is the double-edged sword of tourism, as we say. But I think for World Heritage and tourism, it's fairly straightforward in the sense that the World Heritage sites are tourism attractions. They're some of the major tourism attractions in the world. And for World Heritage, they offer the opportunity to present the outstanding universal values that are embodied in these sites, what makes them amazing. The tourism industry helps UNESCO transmit that, interpret that, communicate that. And tourism also provides socioeconomic benefits for local communities. I think what we see is when tourism is managed responsibly, it's positive. When it's managed irresponsibly, it's negative. And with the increasing numbers of tourists traveling, this is a concern. And it's a concern primarily from a management point of view. World Heritage sites, as everybody knows, are bounded by a boundary. Some are big, some are small. They can only take so many people. So the idea is that with this dramatic projection of tourists, and this you'll see there is from the UNWTO, their projections, we have to pay attention to that and manage the sites appropriately, understand the trends, and put in place management practices that can support that. Because as World Heritage Site, we can't say, no, you can't come, and these sites are for everyone. And
have you ever measured the fact that when a site is listed on the list, what is the increase of attendance? Do you measure the increase of the flux of tourism coming to the site?
Well, it's interesting. Each site varies from site to site, but I'll give you an example here in this next slide. I think many of you probably recognize this. Albi, the Episcopal, the Ville d'Albi. It became a World Heritage Site fairly recently. And in 2010, they had, as you'll see, about a little under 500,000 visitors to the city. After it became a World Heritage Site, they had over almost 800,000. So it's like almost a 70% increase. And the projections for last year was the same. For Albi, this was okay because the management was very good in Albi. They put in place innovative management strategies, so they were able to present the site and provide a very positive tourism experience.
Can you offer some recommendation to this city, the management of the site? It would be a municipality or could be a corporation. Can you offer your service to say, I can help you in managing the site because we have the experience of other sites?
I think for UNESCO, what we could help them with is how, because the responsibility that we're closely associated with is the management of the site. So it's the conservation management. So tourism management is usually not UNESCO's responsibility. It's certainly not the Ministry of Culture's responsibility. If you figure out who's the responsible national entity for that site. So we can provide advice, we can provide tools to help them better management, to help them better understand tourism in terms of managing the site from a UNESCO perspective.
Do you have an example of sites that are good into this management and the increase of attendance?
There are some good sites. I think I'll start with, I'll talk about two of them. The first is a very iconic site that, well, let me just go through this slide. I think there's a couple things that UNESCO are concerned with. Obviously, we want quality visitor experience. The site wants quality visitor experience. The tourism industry wants quality visitor
and
experience.
responsible visitors.
Responsible visitors. What we see is when I visit a World Heritage site and I have a good experience, chances are that site is managed well. Mm-hmm. If you have a bad experience, chances are there's problems with the visitor management of that site. And I think that the actual management of the sites, it's not just one entity's or one person's responsibility. It's very complicated, and it takes everybody working together to actually achieve that sustainable visitor experience.
So you said you had a good example of sites of good management of the increase of visitors?
Yes, yes. That's something that Unesco will be doing, is looking at these good examples and sharing them with others that are similar. For instance, with Albi, it's not only is on the World Heritage list because of its Episcopal Gothic architecture. But it's also a church, and people go to church there. So you have tourists and people going to church, and you have to make that balance.
Do you have a power to put a limit these sites to be to keep this comfort of visiting and the quality of visiting? Do you say a limit in the number of visitors, and can you set a limit to the management?
Well, again, the management is it's a sovereign issue. It's up to the state to determine that. But again, we could help them try to figure that out, and that's what UNESCO's done with Angkor Wat. Mm-hmm. Which has experienced incredible growth of the amount of visitors at Angkor Wat, and you'll see the numbers there. They're increasing significantly. There's over 2 million people going there now. Angkor Wat has the advantage that it's not a small site; it's a big site, but people tend to go to the same places, so you get these bottlenecks where you have problems, and so you just have too many people in too many areas. So UNESCO, working with the Cambodian government, created a tourism management plan for Angkor Wat. And one of the key features of that plan was a mapping or an identification of places around Angkor Wat where you can see the sunset, because that's the big thing. You go to Angkor Wat and you want to see the sun setting over the temple.
Not everybody on top of the same hill.
It's the iconic thing. It's what you want to see. So they identified places so they could move tourists around, so they're not all in the same spot, because that was having the negative impact. That was eroding the stones, people touching the stones and climbing on the stones. So, moving people around the site, which can probably accommodate a larger number of people, and I think they're having some success with that. This is a new program, and they're just rolling it out.
Could you, then again, sometimes you list it, and you say it's a government issue to list, and you agree to list a site on the list of these heritage sites. Do you have the power? How it could be that a site could be unlisted? Say, okay, you don't meet the requirements anymore. You don't meet the criteria.
Yes,
so
it's possible.
Unlist you.
What UNESCO is the secretariat for the World Heritage Convention, and the decision-making body is an organization called the World Heritage Committee, and that is a committee of 21 state parties, and it's elected by all of the signatories to the convention. So they're the ones that make the decision, and UNESCO and its advisory bodies advise that.
And there were examples of sites being unlisted?
There have been examples. There are two most famous ones. The most famous probably here in Europe was in Dresden. The municipality had proposed a bridge, which UNESCO and the advisory bodies felt that it would negatively impact the outstanding universal value, and therefore the World Heritage Committee decided to delist it because of that. So there is that mechanism within the World Heritage Convention to delist if the situation is serious enough to compromise
the threat exists,
to compromise why it's on the list in the first place. So tourism, where it hasn't happened yet, obviously if it gets bad enough, that's a possibility. But that's something we want to, of course, avoid at all costs, and which is why we want to better manage the sites and work with the different stakeholders to do that.
Thank you very much. And again, it's a very short presentation, but I thank you for your... And I will take the... That's my thing, is to take the box.